We got a listener submitted question here. Let's bring this one up. Here we go. I own a brand of handmade candles. That's very nice. That are sold in local shops. Been in business for a while. Never really had a formal marketing plan. The sales are pretty decent, but usually the holidays are the busiest time. But this year, I feel I'm falling behind my competitors. Some of these other brands are doing really well. I'd like to start promoting my sales, but really grow overall awareness of this brand I put together. What are some steps I can take or information I can collect so I can begin putting together a marketing plan? Well, yeah, I mean, just not even having a marketing plan, how do you go about putting it together? I think that's a really great question. Let's dive into that because I really think that's speaking to the foundation of how marketing planning, strategizing in general is going to impact your company. Even a
That's a
company
really,
that,
really good question.
yeah. Well, what do you think, Sarah?
So the question they asked how to begin putting together a marketing plan, but a better question to start with is why do you need a marketing plan? Do you need a marketing plan at all? If your sales are doing okay, should you even look in that direction? Or should you wait until a point where there's a problem or you're not making sales? At what point should you begin doing that? And do you need that?
Right. She's thinking she needs to put time into that. Is that actually a good use? I think, yeah, in this scenario, it is a good use of their time. For anybody really, do they need a market plan? How do they answer that question? I imagine, 99% of all the companies, organizations out there, um, yes, the answer is yes, you need a marketing plan. Are you going to go out of business if you don't have one? Perhaps not. But anybody, any kind of company organization that has goals and they also have constraints, you need a strategy, right? Because you want to get to, from point A to point B, that's your goal. And you have these constraints that are keeping you from getting there, whether that's capital or money or maybe even time, or maybe you don't have the know-how to do it, or maybe you have the time isn't necessarily the time that you can put in it. Maybe it's the time you have to achieve it. Maybe you want to reach those goals within a certain time frame, right? Those are all potential constraints. Some companies, they have all of those constraints. And the way I see it is anytime you have a constraint like that, you need a plan to get around it. So yeah, I would say anybody's probably going to benefit from a marketing plan, even new companies, right? Especially
Well,
new companies.
David, what about more established companies like Coca-Cola or Firestone or companies that have been around forever? Heinz has been around since like the beginning of time.
Mhm.
Do established companies that regularly turn a profit on a regular basis or have a product that people are buy for their families or buy for generations or years? Does a company like that need a marketing plan, or are they pretty much on autopilot? Like at what stage? At what stage if you could afford to just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, is there ever a stage where you grow out of that, where you don't need a marketing plan?
Yeah, it'd be nice if, you don't have constraints, you have unlimited money and resources, right? Because then you don't have to plan, right? You could just throw money at it, throw things at the wall, like you say, throw the spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks. Is it done? Yeah, but even these big companies, they almost, I mean, of course, they most certainly have marketing plans and big marketing teams, and they are playing every year, and they have to. There's certainly what they're thinking of is at a higher tier, right? To think, all right, should we put down millions of dollars on the Super Bowl ad or not, right? Should we invest in this or not? Because at the end they got to answer to shareholders and demonstrate their performance. So yeah, they need marketing plans, and something comes along. There could be marketing can be how do they deal with something that didn't go so well from a PR standpoint or things like that. For small businesses, even if they've been established for a while, it definitely makes sense for a small business to have a marketing plan, even if they have been around for decades, because new businesses crop up. Maybe new competitors, maybe a new way of doing things. You want to have a plan to deal with that, to not be, kind of caught by surprise. You want to continuously be, developing your brand and keeping your customers engaged, develop new customers, and it all takes a strategy. So yeah, I think even whether they're new or established, it still matters.
Hi, this is Sarah from Denverdata Web. Thanks for watching. Please like our video and subscribe for future digital strategy chats. You can also visit our website at denverdata.com or find us on social media at Denverdata Web.